Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We have a really special guest, a really good friend of mine. Julie Doobs is here. Julie Doobs, who makes pins and patches, and today we're deep diving into that. We're deep diving into our friendship history, diving in, and this is gonna be really cool. We got cool stuff to show you guys.
Let's get into it.
Whoop, whoop. Julie and I go way back. When I first moved to Moncton, I was 15, nervous. And Julie was one of the first people to talk to me and be like, yo, what's up? And it all started because we had a similar sort of style and vibe, and she totally picked that up. Like, you saw that, and I saw it too. Like, this girl was rocking band shirts and studded belts, and I was like, big boots. Yeah, so we totally spotted each other in high school, right?
Absolutely. So you were the new kid in school.
Yeah.
So we were in 10th grade, and I could tell you liked metal and that you were a stoner.
Yeah, definitely.
I remember we had a class together, and I purposely sat next to you, and I started drawing this big mushroom on my binder in hopes that you would notice and know that I'm cool.
And I was totally doing the same. I was drawing pot leaves constantly in hopes that a fellow stoner would spot me, and look, it worked.
It did. Pretty sure I approached you.
Yeah.
And I would probably I probably said something like, "Oh, I like your style. We should smoke some weed."
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you asked me if I smoked weed pretty quickly, and I was just like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
stoner
cool.
Life.
Yeah.
I mean, weed did bring us together.
It did. And we don't endorse teenage drug use or whatever, but had it not been for that, I would have taken me so long to make legit friends and make connections as a new girl. So I'm glad that we had that vibe, and we were both clearly punk rockers,
exactly.
Alternative. We were talking earlier, Julie asked me, she's like, didn't you used to wear Iron Maiden shirts? And I was like, yeah, girl.
That's how I knew. I knew we had similar interests, and I knew we were going to be friends. And look at us now. We've been friends for 17 years.
17 years. Dang. They say after 7 years, it lasts for life. So, we got a whole lifetime ahead.
That's the ship that never sinks.
That's right.
Friendship.
Yeah, and we were clearly both super artsy already right off the bat. And then out of high school, I got into photography. You left for a little while. Julie went and studied in Halifax, a couple hours away. So even then we stayed homies.
Of course.
Well, I went over there to celebrate my 19th birthday. We went to see NoFX. Okay.
Tell them the story.
No, okay. The story that the night of, you were like, shut the fuck up. So basically at the NoFX concert, I turned 19. Your girl is gonna amp shit up.
Pop off.
Yeah, so I got, a little bit intoxicated, and I threw my bra on stage and did not stop talking about it for the rest of the night. So
I mean, that's a big flex.
It is. It's a huge flex. I'm so glad I did that.
Yeah, that's iconic.
It was iconic. Even though it was also very obnoxious on the night of, I was,
It was fun.
It was fine. We look back, we laughed. That was great time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I moved back to Moncton. I was 20. It would have been 2012.
Yeah.
And me and Ariane still had similar interests. Still very artsy, but at this point, we just like to get drunk and go to the bar.
Yeah, there was a lot of just partying and having fun. In your early 20s, that's what it's for.
Exactly.
And I was still really doing art. I was getting into photography and wanting to model. So, I talked Julie into modeling for me a few times. I was like, I need somebody to do the stuff that I can't find anybody else for. And I need an alt girl. So what better alt girl than Julie?
And it was super fun. We went on adventures. We would hang out, go on adventures, and just bring the camera, take pictures. It was just fun. That's what we did.
The trip to Hopewell Rock for pictures was probably my favorite one.
That was so fun.
The location was amazing that day.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a beautiful day. So, and even if these pictures never saw the light of day until now, we had fun.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's what counted at the time, and that's what still counts, really.
No, exactly. It was just for fun, and even like all of this, like it all started just from having fun or like being like having a hobby.
Yeah. And I feel like that's sort of where your debut happened in art. Like you were vibing and like you found stencils before anything else, right?
Pretty
stencils
much.
and making pins.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so that was like what brought you to really dive into art, right?
Definitely. Yes, but I was also heavily influenced by like the punk and the metal scene. And I really like to express myself through my clothes and fashion. So we all know about battle jackets.
Yeah, and like making your own sort of style DIY through,
exactly, like in the
shit.
punk or the alternative community, that's what people do. Like they put the kind of bands they listen to on their jackets, and it's a way to like express yourself and meet people that also like those same bands. And then like people will approach you. They'll be like, oh man, I like that band. And then you get to like meet people. So anyway, I was always into that. So it definitely had a big influence on me, and I have always liked art, and all my friends were always punk, metalheads, or artists, so it was easy for me.
Yeah, and the scene here in Moncton, like, we kind of all sort of know each other a little bit, or at least know of each other. So right off the bat, I feel like before we were even allowed in bars, people had a bit of a clue of who we were.
Maybe, yeah, I think
they did. It's a small town, and like because we had that distinctive style, I feel like you did anyways, because you got us into the Iron Giant show that one time, and we were underage. So like, and I feel like that was kind of like maybe a little bit of a stepping stone to like get the word out there, like, hey, we exist, we're here.
For sure. I love that you brought that up, though. It brings me back. Like,
that totally just came back to me now.
I love that because like that's the thing. Like I've always really loved going to shows. Like that was my thing, and like as an alternative person, growing up, like I'm the one that probably brought you to like your first metal show, or like I was the one that introduced that to a lot of my friends.
Yeah, in Moncton, like you definitely introduced me to a few local metal bands, like beyond the couple that I had learned about through like the all age gigs that I know we both went to, but with different crowds too, which is kind of funny. True. Like, but we were there together still, like, yeah.
But
like,
I love that because like we have this really hippie friend, and like even her, I got her into like metal because like we just all hung out.
Oh, we dragged her places.
But she's happy, like she liked it too. But anyway,
as long as she was with her friends, like she loved it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So like, yeah, you discovered stencils, and like from there, how did it snowball? Like what picked up first?
Yeah, so essentially like just picture this, like, you know, early 20s, just like partying a lot, going to a lot of shows, like being part of the punk and art community. At some point, like you want a hobby, right? Yeah. So I kind of just started making stencils with my friend at the time, mostly like band stuff. And then eventually me, my roommate, and boyfriend at the time, we really got into punking carving, which is super random. But
Pumpkins are awesome.
Yeah, and like we did like 5 each that year. Like we took it really seriously, and it's mostly because we found all these really cool stencils on this website, and we were doing all these like crazy characters, like musicians, and anyway, it was really fun. But from that website, with all the stencils that were available, I realized like, oh wait a minute, I could use this and actually make patches.
Yeah.
So that really escalated my journey, and like I ended up doing a lot of stencil patches, and then eventually was approached by Steph, which is known as SDV.
Or good old Steph, SDV.
SDV, it stands for like her name, Stephanie Dawn Vautoul, but it's also like a vintage thrift store that she had.
Steph was a pillar in the community, honestly, for like the oddballs, the queer kids, the ones that don't fit in nowhere. You know, we fit in there. We all belonged in Steph's shop to some degree, and like she truly was amazing. And as you can tell, we're talking in past tense. So like we did lose Steph. Steph passed away a few years ago, and she is deeply missed. Beyond just being a shop, like her essence, you know,
lives on.
She lives on through all of us, and the impact that she had has a ripple effect because, you know, she gave you a chance, and like look where you are now. So like, you know, how did Steph really impact what you were doing at the time?
Honestly, if it wasn't for Steph, I probably wouldn't have my business. Like, she really saw something in me and lit a fire up my ass, literally. Like, and I love
what
her.
she would do.
I love it for her. Like I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But basically, she asked me if I could sell some of my patches at her shop because she often showcased local artists. And
Yes,
I think it was around Christmas time, and she was having this like local artist market. And she literally asked if I wanted to sell these patches. And I was like so surprised because like in my head, I just, I didn't think.
You were new at this too, right?
Yeah. But just the fact that she thought my patches were good enough was really validating for me. And obviously I totally was on board. And the thing is, like, I didn't actually sell any of my patches during this time.
Oh, shush.
Which is really funny looking back, but it just goes to show, like, even if you suck at something at first, like, don't give up.
Yeah.
Like,
because somebody like Steph believes in you, you're gonna keep going. Like,
exactly.
That's the thing. Like, that fire she lights in people's asses, like, it burns.
Absolutely. Yeah. And even though I didn't sell anything, like, it didn't really bother me or it didn't stop me, obviously. I just was so happy and grateful that she gave me that opportunity.
Yeah.
So
did you make the patches for the shop first or the pins? So
definitely the patches.
Okay.
Yeah. So later on, I actually end up making custom buttons for Steph for her shop. Like she always had crazy ideas, and we'll show some pictures of like the kind of stuff she requested. Yeah. But at that point, I was mostly just making stencils and, I just had that one encounter with Steph where I sold my patches, nothing sold, womp womp. But then I just moved on.
Yeah, you didn't stop. Like, it's not like she said, don't do this again, Julie. Like, she was like, keep going, Julie. And Julie
pretty much.
Julie kept going.
Well, things started escalating or just falling into place for me at this point. So not long after that, obviously I was like looking back, I was like, well, maybe stencil patches are not it, right? Like, I had that little failed experience and I was just like, okay, like, what's my next thing? And obviously stenciling is really limiting. Like, there's only so much you can do. And at that time, my friend was teaching himself how to screen print, and he ended up teaching me how to, and like, we end up getting my setup done. So then I started screen printing, and this allowed me to really make more complex, like, we're just cooler designs.
Right.
Yeah. And this would have been in 2016.
Yeah, around 2015.
Yeah.
2016.
So that's when I screen printed my first.
And what was the first print?
It was a bat face, which is really cool because I still actually use the design.
It's one of the designs that have eluded.
Of course.
As you'll see, Julie's designs, what's really neat is like, she'll make something, it's really awesome. Time goes by and she's like, I can make this awesomer. And she freaking does. Like, she'll just be like, let me pimp this into another level.
Pretty much.
It's like a Pokemon evolution of patches. It gets a better, stronger Pokemon.
Pretty much. Well, my art is just like constantly changing as I'm changing as a human. So it's really reflective of like where I'm at in life. And I think that's beautiful. And like the bat actually represents rebirth and transformation. So I think that's really significant.
Yeah.
But anyway, I ended up screen printing on around my 24th birthday, actually. Yeah. And it was the bat. And then after that, I made like a ass eating patch because I really like explicit stuff.
Explicit and like good puns.
Yes.
There's some real good puns going on with Julie's patches. And that's one thing that I love. Like, I love a good joke. So like some of the patches that I've gotten from you are the funny ones that like, I gotta get that. Like, I gotta get
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I have such a silly sense of humor, but that just makes me.
Yeah.
But in regards of the ass eating and the bat, like what I really love about those patches are that I've kept them in my shop and they just kept evolving. So like this one, for example, like live fast, eat ass. So originally it was just the heart, but then of course throughout the years I've just added more to it.
Yeah, it needed to say something.
Well, yeah, and same thing with the bat. So this just kept changing. I just kept adding and just turning it better, right? Like it's all about growth and improvement.
Show me the old bat.
Right. So, I have my old jacket here. This was my first battle vest, as I like to call it. We have this was actually my first stencil. It's from it's a silhouette of Moncton. That's the city we live in.
That's the one I have.
This is classic. So this was my first stencil, and this is the first one I actually put out in the world, and I was like, oh, willing to sell it. And I did sell a couple.
And then we have the bat
yes
here.
So
and, like, you can tell lovely evolution of the bat.
Well, yeah, like sizing are different, like inverted, just added some stuff. Anyway, that's just part of the game. Like, that's how it should be. Just like, you know, you create and you evolve and you change.
And I find it neat that you kept the bat because, like, I do feel like at 24, it is very much a changing time in your life. You're getting towards your mid-20s. You know the party is about to end. Like, not about to end, but, like, yeah, you want to party in your early 20s, but, like, life gets real really fast.
It gets real. And that's exactly what happened. I was like, whoa, I have to start thinking about my future. Like, life is not all about partying. Like, you know, you have to start thinking about your responsibilities and, like, what you're going to do with your life.
Yeah, and hobbies, as much as, like, yes, they are important, they keep us going. It's really cool when a hobby can become something that brings in a couple bucks every month. And, like,
I never expected that at first, honestly, because I always did it for fun and just for my own satisfaction. But it's really great that I was able to monetize eventually.
Yeah, 100%. And I do feel like it also wasn't all about selling for you. Like, as much as you got the itch to, like, get the art out there, Julie was never like, I must make millions. Like, you weren't like a money hungry, like, asshole.
Dr.
Like,
Evil.
There's some artists out there that kind of have, like, just dollar signs in their eyes. And, like, Julie's not about that. You really wanted to be authentic to you. And, like,
absolutely.
Mad respect to that, for sure.
Well, I've had moments where I was like, I had profit on the mind, right? Like, oh, I'm going to make this specific design because I know it's going to sell a lot. So I've done that before, but I wasn't as satisfied. You know what I mean? Because art is just, it should be authentic and it should be true to who you are. So,
and I feel like that sells.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes if you're trying to aim for money,
your art's going to suck.
It's not going to be good. Yeah.
No, it's so true. And that's why maybe I have such a special edge and, like, my stuff is so unique.
Yeah.
It's because I stay true to myself.
Do you feel like the times that you did collab and make merch for, let's say, specific bands and stuff, do you feel like that compromised your brand, or did you pick and choose things because it was representative of your brand?
That's a really good question. Well, at first, you know, obviously I wanted the most experience. So, like, I would say yes to a lot of custom stuff.
Yeah.
And then slowly throughout the years, I pushed back or I stopped because I realized it wasn't as satisfying. Like, you know what I mean?
That's valid.
Yeah. But speaking of the pins, so back in the day, like, I was really known more so for my pins.
Yeah, the pins kind of came first, eh?
Well, yeah, because, like, there's a lot more opportunity for custom pins, right? Like, if a band wanted merch, like, it was a lot easier to make pins. So,
and you did the pins for Steph at SDV as well.
True.
And
yes.
Like, in the logo was Steph's logo created by our good friend Chloe, who's a phenomenal tattoo artist now. But back in the day, she was doing a lot of digital art, and she had created Steph's logo, which you then made into buttons, and those sold well.
Well, yeah, well, they're actually free. So Steph gave them free.
They were free, yeah. And you walk around cities and spot a pin on people and be like, oh, that's a Steph girly. You know this girl goes to Steph because she's got that pin. Like,
no, it's so
it's
true.
Kind of like you see it in the community, which was really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I definitely made a lot more money from selling pins in my earlier career, just because it was a lot easier to make too. Like, at this point, I wasn't super like good at screen printing yet. Like, that's a process, right? There's a lot to it. So, and I was just starting out. So pins were a lot easier. And that's the funny story about the pins, is that I discovered the pin making machine at the library, and then I would always go to the library to make pins for, like, bands. I made pins for, like, businesses, events, organizations. A lot of it were sometimes donated, right? Like, I did the Punk for Pause.
Yeah, and you gave me, I remember, pins either for, like, my birthday or Christmas some year.
Oh, yeah.
And then you gave me one that had, like, my son's face on it and stuff. Like, so giving presents to your friends too was, like,
oh my gosh,
super fulfilling in a way. Like,
yes, I forget about that. I used to make a lot of pet buttons. So, like, when your pets would, like, pass, people would, like, ask me to kind of memorize or,
commemorate, whatever the word is.
Their pets on buttons. So I did that a lot.
That's adorable.
I know.
Yeah.
And my first pin gig, though, or, like, my first pin order is one of my favorites. It was, like, not long after Lemmy from Motorhead had passed.
Oh.
Our friend was putting on a tribute Motorhead show.
Right.
And I agreed to make 100 different Lemmy buttons.
Wow.
So that everyone could have a button with their admission. So that was a special night.
Yeah.
And that's really kind of what started getting the word out that, oh, Julie's like a pin gal. Like you want some pins? Like go see Julie.
Kept snowballing.
Oh yeah.
From there. Yeah.
I've definitely made a lot of money from pins in my earlier career.
Mm-hmm.
But then as the silk screening progressed, then I ended up selling more patches eventually.
You accumulated a few different designs, and then once you've printed enough, you can put them out there.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. So and then like you did a couple events, and then you had a booth for a while, right?
Yeah. So eventually my merch started accumulating, and I was like, okay, let's try this again, right?
Yeah, let's put it out there.
I had this friend. Well, I still have this friend, Susie.
Another shout out,
Susie, and she had a connection for the Moncton market. Right. So we shared a booth, a table, and we sold every second Saturday, I think, for like almost a year.
Yeah, and I remember you guys would split days sometimes. She would be there, you would be there, and kind of having each other's back for the booth. Like,
yeah, but that was a really good experience, and like having pins like that sold like hotcakes, honestly, because it's cheap, and like I had a bunch of cool different pins, like a lot of Simpsons and just like funny reference that people could relate to. So it really drew some traffic, more so for the pins. Because obviously I had a couple designs, but they were like more niche, like not everyone's cup of tea. Like I could,
and I do feel like, pins with a meme or something funny on it speaks to everybody. Mm-hmm. The market crowd here is very diverse, but not necessarily diverse enough for like explicit fetishy content, maybe a little.
True.
So I feel like you kind of maybe after that had to make a decision. So
that's so funny. I mean, at this point, I wasn't making that like
the eat ass one.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Out yet.
Well, you're right. No, that was out. You're right. But that's the thing. Like after a year, I started feeling the pressure. Like I kind of went through burnout and realized that like maybe the market wasn't it. And like
it is a lot doing the market every Saturday when you have a full-time job. Like
it was a lot. So like, and it wasn't fulfilling as much. So I quit that after a year, and but I still wanted to sell. I just wanted to have like just more of a like better like alternative like.
So you were pickier about which events you wanted to do.
Pretty much, or markets.
Makes sense. Yeah. You did a couple. How many Across From Deluxe did you do?
A bunch, like at least 3 or 4 or 5.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. So Across From Deluxe is like a really cool art show type of thing. A bunch of different artists have a booth. So like you were surrounded with, I feel, a lot more like-minded people at Deluxe than at like the market.
Yes, it was a lot more my crew, because my patches are really more for a niche demographic, like more in the alternative. So it just worked out better.
Yeah.
And also like Lisanne is one of my best friends too. So it was just really fun. Like love you, Lisanne. Check out Across From Deluxe. Like she's still putting on art shows.
Everything we talk about will be linked below, by the way, guys. So
so doing those kind of markets was a lot more fulfilling, and like I could also kind of do a little bit of my own performance. Like I would like put on quartz paint because I like black metal, and anyway, I could just be a little bit more myself, and it was a lot more satisfying, just more my gig.
And you did one out of town event,
in Montreal. So there's this Varning. Well, it's no longer a fest, but like that was super badass. Like it was held at the Catacombs in Montreal, which is no longer no longer a bar. It was shut down in the pandemic, unfortunately. But those were good times.
Yeah,
like a good heavy. And
I feel
punk.
like again, very much your kind of people.
Well, like I just prefer punk alternative market. So that's why I was just like being selective at that point. And then after 3 years, so in 2019, I had the courage and felt ready enough to start my Etsy shop. So I opened that, and I've been selling online ever since. And I would say I'm pretty successful.
Has there ever been like a bestseller on the Etsy shop? Like one that either sells out or you have to keep selling or making? Because that's
for
the one
sure. Well, yeah, I've had a couple bestsellers in the past. Like my Princess Mononoke or like Studio Ghibli stuff sold like hotcakes.
Yeah.
I also had like some serial killer stuff. So like I had some Charles Manson patches. They were also bestsellers. But throughout the years, I didn't necessarily resonate as much with that kind of content, I guess. So I remove them, even though they were some of my best sellers. Because once again, like for me, it's my art. I want it to be representative of my interests and like who I am. So I just didn't vibe with it as much. But nowadays, in the present, my most popular patch is actually Latex Love. We have it here. And what's super cool about the Latex Love is that this is actually a picture of me. Like this is me in latex. Yeah. So my friend Ryan McKinnon from Halifax, he drew this picture of me. Like this was a picture, and he just like drew it
up,
and then I turned it into a patch. Awesome. And it's actually my bestseller. So
flex. That also goes to show how like you've had little collabs and big collabs and just a bunch of little interactions throughout the years of doing this, like open doors to work with people. Like I think that's really cool, and I think that that's the art scene. Like it shouldn't be just you behind closed doors and doing it on your own. It takes a community to make art, to sell art. And like, I will say from day one, Julie's essence has been in these patches, and like, it has never changed. It's still your essence in them. It's refined. It's like really good quality. It was quality back then, but now it's like up game for sure. And it's like, it feels really authentically you. As somebody who knows you, like, this is Julie. You know what I mean?
Thank you so much. Well, it's something I'm really proud of. Like, if you, like, looking back on it, I've been doing this for almost, 10 years now.
Wow. Wow.
And to me, it is important to refine and, like, improve on your craft and seeing it grow.
Be true to yourself. Absolutely. The process, too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so satisfying, honestly. I'm so grateful for the platform. But anyway, I've also worked hard and, like, and I've kept being true to myself. So I think that's part of the game.
And I think that's what sells. I think people can tell when art is made authentically and not made with dollar signs behind the eyes type of deal.
For sure.
You wanted to create something that you would wear.
Well, exactly. You know what I mean? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Absolutely. And like throughout the years, I've taken some stuff out of my shop, added new ones. Like every year I try to put in new designs, because I also am a very creative person, and it's an outlet for me. And
and like we said, the Moncton patch itself has evolved,
of course,
which I feel like the design is so cute. Talk to us about how, like, why this one was made.
Okay, so I guess it was just made as like a gift for Moncton, as cheesy as that is, or maybe
Moncton's been blessed. Okay.
Well, once again, you know how I just like to refine and like improve things. I just felt like I had to redo this patch from the stenciling, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And there's a little doobie here, and this was actually a collab done with a thrift shop in Moncton called Good Eye Thrift Store. And we released this on 4/20 last year, and this patch was sold exclusively at the shop.
That's so cool.
Right?
And that goes to show, like, that's another shop owner who was like, I want Julie's stuff.
Absolutely. And I've had my stuff also at a cool shop called Bellwether in Fredericton.
Oh,
yeah. Like a couple years ago. Like, they're good people too. I want to give them a little shout out.
Yeah, they're badass too. Like, we're lucky, honestly, for being a small province and like a small part of the world, if you will. Like, we got cool stuff going on and cool opportunities for artists. It's really neat.
It is. And for the most part, I do sell exclusively online because it is my brand. But once in a while, if it resonates with me, or like you're good people, your friends, like, obviously I'm going to want to, take the opportunity and sell my stuff at stores. Like, I'm always down for that. But if ever I say no, like, don't be offended. It's just because I'm a bit picky.
Yeah. And that's normal. Like, the eat ass does not belong at grandma and grandpa's shop. I don't think it would be well received. So like, we got to be not necessarily careful, because like, no shame, but like, you have to be more niche about where you're going to sell a product that is not necessarily for a crowd of elderlies, right?
I agree. I agree. And this is my brand, and I like it to be exclusive, but at the same time,
it can be for everybody too. Like,
for sure,
grandma and grandpa could have the Moncton patch, or even the Caillouche patch. If you're an East Coaster,
classic.
You know who this is.
Rest in peace,
Caillouche. That's another great soul lost. But
That's a good one. This one's retired too, but if ever anyone wants one, like just hit me up. Like I'm always willing to accommodate.
Because you can't have mine. Yeah, this one's mine. I'm not getting rid of this.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like you've had great support throughout the years, and like even when I reached out because I became a mom and I wanted my son to have Julie merch.
Of course.
You know,
it's iconic.
You had come up with this one patch or sentence that I'm wearing that I thought was so fitting for a baby onesie. Team Jugs.
Team Jugs.
You know, and
this
I was
early.
breastfeeding. So
oh my God.
You know he needed.
That is so tiny. I love it. Team Jugs, though, that's just another kind of like funny thing that I came up with. It's a play on
word thing that yeah, like tell us why.
Okay, so I quit drinking tap water like pretty early on, like over 10 years ago, and I would go collect my own water from the source, or like spring water, I should call it, and I had these big jugs. And like obviously I have a nice rack too, so
I was gonna say, get your minds out of the gutter. It's not jugs, it's jugs. She said it here first. I guess it is jugs.
It's a play on words. Once again, like we love a pun, right?
Yeah, love that. So
and at the time, like everyone was super supportive, even though it's pretty dumb. And like looking back on it, I find it cringe, like Team Jugs. But like here we are, and I think I'm gonna bring it back. Let me know in the comments if I should.
I think that's one that could be brought back, and it could have titties with like, or 2 jugs of
I think so. I've always wanted to do that and I've never, so I think this is my sign, like to bring that back.
That could be.
Right? Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Today. It's subliminal messaging to Julie.
Inspiration. I love it.
Yeah, and like through all of this, I feel like you've created, you know, yes, it's snowballing, but you're well on your way to more. Like, what do you have planned out? Like, is there anything you want to do in the near future? I know that recently Julie Doobs decided to do the burlesque show.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like fitting. So why did you pick that?
Okay, so throughout the years, I guess since the pandemic, I've just became a bit more like spicy and more sexually empowered. And that definitely had an influence on my art and my recent patches. So like now in my shop, I definitely have a not safe for work collection, which is personally my fave. We have like, for example, like, you know, sexy shoes. It says step on me. And this super iconic patch, like this is one of my most recent. So it's Maritime Cum Sauce. It's represents Donair sauce. You'll only know if you're from the Maritimes, which is really funny, but everyone freaks out when they see this one. But as you can see, they're a bit more like out there sexually. So obviously with my art being out and, you know, it was just like, it was fitting.
It was fitting.
Yeah. And like, I used to do a bit of burlesque and like, I know that community, like they're all friends. So like when I was approached by Jacinda from Talent NB, shout out.
Another shout out. Yeah.
Obviously I wanted the opportunity to showcase my sexy patches. So that was really fun. I only brought like 10 of my sexy patches. I had my little booth. I had a great night. I got to see burlesque. I discovered 0% Radlers.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Good discovery.
I know. No, it was like a really good night, and it was really validating just to have my art there, and it just made me feel really proud.
Do you plan on doing more events like that are more niche to you?
Oh yeah, I'm always down.
Yeah,
I would for sure, but I do feel like I'm pretty much semi-retired now from the markets. Like I really just prefer selling online on my own time. Like that's really my cup of tea at this point. I usually turn down most markets, but you never know.
Yeah, if something fits the brand.
Well, exactly. Got to fit the brand. Got to be the vibe.
Yeah. Now, the next step for Julie, she is so kind and so gracious and so lovely that she has offered to help me out with my own logo for the channel, so I can have like a sweater with my own thing when I film. So like that's going to be super cool. So, you know, stay tuned. Next episode, like this was the intro to get to know us, get to know, you know, Julie, how we know each other. But the next part, we're going to film her and I making me a logo. I'm so excited. Like,
me too.
I don't think I've had anybody give a shit that much. So far, she gives a shit like the most about the YouTube channel. Like she's wanting to do a logo. I'm like, yes. So yeah, like super stoked about that. And like, we're going to take you guys through the process a little bit.
For sure. Stay tuned for part 2.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed this and enjoyed the patches. Go check out all the links and all the people we mentioned. They're all worth knowing and seeing. So thank you so much. And we'll see you part 2.
Till the next episode.